Well, hello everyone. Monday. How are you? Some I think are off, others I don't know. But in any case, hope you're doing well. And let me make sure you give me 1 second here. All right, got the echo out. That always helps. All right, let's get back out of here. And this is cool. So hello, everyone. Hey, Steve, how are you doing? Watched your show with you and Brian. Good show. Brad, greetings. Charlotte, hello. Shoots for par. Good to see you. Uh, Nagsriel, good to see you. Don't know if I said that correct, but the intent is strong. Claudette, how are you? Good to see you. Tim Who TV, good day, sir. Well, something really interesting happened. Did you ever hear that? Something interesting happened on the way to the store today. But actually, something really did happen. So 11:42. It's 12:01 right now. And I just want to put this out there for the record. Hello, 1111 code. Hello. So where my office is, I have a separate restroom on the other side of the hall. And as I walked in there, was looking in the mirror and saw what can only be described as a white mist aberration going right behind me, and came in and wrote it down. And what was so wonderful about it, there was just this wave of warmth and something that smelled like cookies. No, seriously. And when I was looking in the mirror, my aura was almost a transparent white. So there you go, folks. Things are happening. And I was, in fact, watching Jeff's show that he had just posted here a little bit. Go there and check that out after we finish here. But if you want, you go over there anyway and watch this later. But in any case, I digress. And check it out. I think that there are things that we can start moving on in a community like this. And for those who are getting the foundation, and there's apparently a lot of you, because I have sent out, it's just, you just lose count after a while, of the favor cleansing invocation. And it's odd that, when we think of invocations, think about in your own life. In how many other type of groups, organizations, you invoke. And we're going to be talking a lot about just that. But anyway, go figure that out, huh? And you know what? Wasn't scared a bit. I was very much aware of what was happening. I knew that there was an energy, a presence of something. And, as far as I'm concerned, that was just, it was love. And, love can't be bad. We in this dimension, in most people's state of consciousness, they have a perverse definition of love. And, and unfortunately, you can't mix a pure glass of water with another glass of wine. And once you do, it's never the same, is it? So, yeah, very interesting times. So I'm going to talk specifically about spirit words and flesh words. A lot of people are learning, they're catching up. Some have already a good foundation, but when you understand that there are words of the spirit that you are encased with in this body, and there's also the soul, which is words of what I define as words of flesh. Now, my dog knows. Hi, Raven. What are you doing? Laura, good to see you. Dancer is so tuned in to the tone of my words. If I have a slightest inflection to a negative tone, a frequency, she immediately picks up on that. In fact, I've been using her as a training tool. Amazing, huh? A dog, how well they can train us if we just merely open ourselves up to that. Plants can train you in ways to appreciate their kingdom. And what do I mean by spirit words and what do I mean by flesh words? Typically, spirit words are more of it's really of the spirit. It has more breath into it. Whereas flesh words are always, all of them are curse words, all of them. And, I won't insult your intelligence here in this room, because in this room we have respect. We're intelligent enough that we can use the vocabulary in a plethora of ways to express any emotion. So anyway, but having said that, you think about, any curse word you can think of right now. Where does it come from? It typically comes from the gut. What I always call it, it's coming from the intestines. And the intestines, although they serve their place, or, you don't want to be there. It's just the way it is. And it's vulgar. It pulls down the energy, because that's what it does. It's like a sieve. It just sucks up the energy right up in the room. We've all met people like that. Hello, let's see. Etheric Essential. Hey, Deborah, how are you doing? Good to see you. Deborah, I want to get you on, so let's get that happening. Raven, I got to get you on. Never had you on either. All right, I digress here. So, getting back to the point. Now, I used to have a real problem. I was a really nice guy, always was, but if you backed me into a corner, even in business, I used to have men who were afraid of me. Now that's ridiculous. So I look back now, I keep on wanting to ask, who is that guy? I don't know who he is. But it's the interesting thing in the space-time continuum that what people don't realize, and I hope that you're coming to realize, because, whether it's the Hermetic teachings or whether it's just good old common sense, that these things. And when you read the 7 principles, and then when you begin to expand in the sub-knowledge that's contained in each one of the principles, or a combination thereof, we begin to expand out and we become much more aware of the spirit being. One of the things that I always found interesting in my Christian experience, and that there was so many schisms within the belief system itself. You could be a schizophrenic and have several different beliefs residing in the same house. Maybe that's what the term, a house divided against itself cannot stand. The old story, you've heard this. What happens if a schizophrenic decides to commit suicide? It's actually a hostage situation. But anyway, I digress again. I'm sorry. It's just one of those days. You have to have laughter, folks. If you're not laughing, if you're not singing, ask yourself why. My wife will testify that she says I'm the only man that she has ever known who sings all the time. And I do. But as we're going to discover, that is actually something that's extremely positive to a spirit that has that already. Case in point. So I've been experimenting with frequencies, and it's all coming to where we're going to be talking about today, and that's the secret tongue. Hermes lamented about that. He said that, you know, when the last priest, the last master died off, that the Greeks would just butcher the interpretations of the true words of Hermes, of Thoth. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. Who am I to question? I'm the initiate here. You know? But I have found out that it's all right as an initiate. You won't ever pass unless you ask the questions. And we're being graded all the time, folks. Just to tell you, we really are. Once you make the commitment, spirit-wise, you make the commitment to become an initiate into the Hermetic principles. You know, question is, there really is no going back. There's no stepping back, because it's one of those things that it literally alters I think all the way down to the molecule level. Once the spirit becomes so activated, it sends out this energy to every corpuscle in our bodies. And we just happen to be a community here of empaths, adepts, masters, teachers, and some looky-loos. And we don't mind. You know, we were all looky-loos at one time. Some of us had to go down a circuitous path, but hey, the cool thing is that we did end up back where so many of us started out to begin with. I've read, literally with no exaggeration, over 100 emails over the weekend, all of them asking for the favor cleansing invocation, and yet hearing stories of how this principles are already changing people's lives, and whether it be old or young or in between. The stories, couples, marriages, husband and wives. I mean, discoveries of the youth, discoveries of those who still are in their midlife, coming to understand. And it's no exaggeration if I was to use one word that was descriptive of the emails that I have gotten, have been thanksgiving. All of them. Grateful. And, you know, that in itself testifies to what happens to a mind who is ready for this. And regrettably, some aren't. Maybe in the next go around, I don't know. I don't focus in on that. So when we get to this whole thing about words, I'm going to do something here, and I need all of you to let me know, and just give me 1 second here as he gets back. It was Fire Sign Theater who said, how can you be in two places at once when you're in no place at all? All right. So I think y'all can see this, right? And I'm going to go over here. So can y'all see this? Let me just see. I'm over here in a split screen. Can you see this gold screen I have up? I'm just waiting for someone to say yay or nay. Okay, I'm waiting. I think you can, because I can see it. All right. That sounds groovy. Okay, and I can actually hear myself as well. So I know you can. So check this out, folks. We're going to talk about tone and frequency. So let's have some fun here. Yeah, and we can turn it up. Anyone loving digging that yet? How about that? So we're dealing with tone, frequency, and you can hear how it affects you. Let me turn this down. I can go all the way up here where none of us can hear this, but if I had speakers leading to where you could hear this outside, they'd be freaking out. So imagine now if you could master through the human tongue a frequency, a tone in a language that would actually open up portals. Think about that. Did y'all hear that? The low tones really bother. Yes, yes, Sarah. You are understanding something. So if you hear people who they just don't know, but they use um, the language, the F-bombs, the and it can get worse from there. Those tones are designed, they're like I said, they're a sieve. They will suck the energy, the psychic energy right out of you. You can feel it in your body. And as you get into the higher tones, now the Egyptians, according to Hermes, had the secret language where they could speak a word, and through the tone of the syllable that would then form the word, they could actually open up portals. Yeah. Think about that. So I did a little presentation here. Let me pull this up. So some questions I think we have to begin to ask ourselves. And we're going to do this today. So I'm titling this, Where is the Secret Tongue? All languages use the tongue. Book of Proverbs says that the tongue is a power in itself. I think it was actually in the book of James that said that the tongue is an unruly member, setting afire the passions, the desires. Where they got that from was from the Hermetic principles. But it's true. By the way, it's 38 degrees here, raining and beautiful. I love this weather. All right. So where is the tongue that can speak a word that opens portals beyond space-time? Now, in the Kabbalah, the mysticism side of Judaism, it is said that Moses, who was most likely a wizard, we know, and yet a wizard, you can use the same word, they're synonymous with priest. He studied in that reality, that world. It was said that he could open up a portal to Yahweh, and that through this portal allowed the transference back and forth. Who is to say? It said that that's where he actually saw the tent of the tabernacle. Well, we know this, Hermes lamented this in a prophecy. And my question after, particularly what we're going to read in the Hermetica, is where is the tongue that can once again speak of the thought language? And that's something I have found interwoven in my study, in my library of the occult. You know, I like what the guy I heard today, someone sent me a link. He says, listen, I'm all about de-occultism. And I happen to think that that's spot on. We need to de-occult that word and once again grow up, stop allowing others to dictate dictate our spirit thoughts. So the thought language of the gods, and once again bring forth the secret understanding. The thing that I'm studying and learning, and what my guide is teaching me, in fact, there's actually more than just one, but we get so, and I'm guilty of this, I'm raising my hand on the whole thing that you want knowledge. I've done a whole series on the secret knowledge. Well, guess what? Ask and it is given. Now, I made this universal cry from my spirit man nearly a half decade ago. And I have video documentation of that transmutation. You're a part of it. This is all part, it's very well documented. And guess what? The all, the cosmos, that of which we are made of, answered. So it's not so much knowledge as it is understanding. You can have great knowledge and become very unbalanced. You can lose your way. It's how religion starts. Someone thinks that he suddenly or she's hearing from God or gods or whoever the case may be. And then people get around, because the thing about it is, ladies and gentlemen, you and I have this unquenchable desire to be a part of the divine, the creator, the all. Our spirits have cried out, and there's just some of us, we were wrapped in a special wrapping. The masses will never come to this. It's the remnant few that do. It's you and I. So it's the understanding once we get the knowledge. Otherwise, the knowledge will tear us apart. I mean, look at knowledge. I mean, just look at what our government is, what the United States is, and it's much akin to the whole world. There is a spirit of division. And I wrote here, beware of the traps, folks. I consider all of you my friends. Many of you I will not meet in this lifetime, but your energy will draw when we get over and meet on the other side. And I happen to think by the vast majority who are listening to this, graduation is in store. So I continue. What happened to the language key that unlocked man's tongue to speak the language of the star gods? Because that's what they are. They're all from the stars. There's very few earthbound gods that are truly what we would consider deities. Probably more entities than deities. Deities can be a host and array. But nevertheless, unless they're of this Gaia, and she produced them, and she does, the thing is that the earth produces living, sentient beings. We may call them creatures, we may call them a lot of things, but they are from the earth. Oh, by the way, that's how we got here. Love that tea. All right, let me continue. So, the tongue. From my youth, I've heard, in fact, I had it beaten into me. And oddly enough, I don't know whether the beatings, didn't enjoy them at the time, but the message did get through. But in any case, we've heard it before, a child should not be heard until spoken to. He who has a few words is a wise man. Yeah, the idioms just go on and on and on. So the tongue. In fact, I can tell you this, folks. I'll just bring this thing out right now. If you have lack in your life, there shouldn't be. The universe is not running out of anything. Every bit of gold, except the little bit that man has sent out, is still here. No one owns anything. It's an illusion. Now, there are those deities, and they are deities, bona fide entities, that can, in fact, control wealth. They do. It's what they were created for. But you don't have to make a deal with them. You just have to know how to operate. And the thing is, I'll just say it right now, the reason why these entities don't pay the majority any attention is because no sooner do they invoke, head down, work towards that which they think that they need. There's nothing wrong in having wealth. Just remember, you're just a steward, not the owner. But the words most people speak nullify anything of a higher intelligence to want to have anything to do with you. They know you're not serious. Now, think about this. Every person who I know who is wealthy, I know some wealthy people, let's say an actor. Acting is one of the hardest things on this planet. A good actor, actress. Even the gods appreciate a good actor, a good actress. And for good reason. To be able to see a sentient being manifest many personalities so convincingly that you become convinced that that person, that character, actually lives, is a master. A master at spell casting, one, but a true master also of alchemy. Think about it. And the thing about it, you talk to actors, if you ever have the opportunity to get to know them, the serious ones, and I always enjoyed the ones that actually came up through, the theater, is that they never doubt themselves. And when that takes place, there are more than enough entities around that will come in. Do you think that because you act, you're going to be rich? No. I think there's a lot going on here, folks. I digressed again. Oh, well. Let's go on. Did not one guardian not watch over the sacred tongue once given to man as man's inheritance? See, I believe that this is our right. Behind my whiteboard, I have asked now the question more than ever, why is it we, as a species, as spirit beings that have souls that are being developed, why is it that we cannot master the mental arts? And they are arts, talents, gifts. I don't think they're even gifts. I think they are actually a part of us. And something or something, someone who knows, has went to a great deal of effort to make you and I ignorant of it. So much so that some who have actually been given some of that they always so often misuse it for personal gain, never understanding that they never owned anything. But my question is, did not one wizard or goddess not survive to pass on the most sacred of all tongues, the thought language of the unseen, the ether? Now, something inside of me tells me it's still out there. The tongue that each syllable that forms a word that opens doors, passages from one dimension to this one, energy that can alter matter in the material plane, a word that can kill a living thing, a word that can give life to anything, a word that can extract from the ether of other planes. See, I believe this language existed. I don't know what happened to it. Again, whoever did it to us, whether we self-inflicted this upon ourselves, I doubt it. It's too powerful. I think within this thought of mine I'm sharing with you is how the pyramids were built. In fact, I think that the originators of this language that had it would laugh at us today because it's actually very simple. It's so simple that I think, again, maybe we just don't care, can't remember, or won't remember. I don't know. My question is it still on Earth? Now, here's the thing, and we're going to read this in the Hermetica, a tongue. It's very obvious that our tongue, and you know, the human tongue is very interesting. You ought to do a study on the human tongue. The tongue, if altered, changes speech, tone, frequency, I believe meaning. But the tongue that controls both gods and demons and that they must submit to, a language spoken by a tongue that can create reality. So let me get out of this. So there you go. There we are. I'm back. Hello, everyone. How you doing? So, do you see where I'm going with this? I can see the comments now in the chat room, but so often I think that it's gotten so bad that even the ones with the best intent inevitably screw it up. And when we talk about tone, frequency, as I just did, this is crystal. I actually got this in Germany, but here. Isn't this amazing? If our thoughts could be this, you see, that's earth, that's fire, it's air, it's water, of which our tongue is composed of, thus giving words meaning. Now, I told you I would actually wanted to read a portion of what that got me going on this. By the way, folks, if you can, you really should get this book. You know, we're going to continue tomorrow with the reading, but I want to share something with you that brought out something to me that was rather remarkable. In this passage, it's actually the 16th, the definitions to the king on God, matter, vice, fate, the son, intellectual essence, divine essence, mankind, the arrangement of the plenitude, the seven stars, and mankind according to the image. Now, Hermes comes in and begins to lament of the fact that the Greeks, in fact, I'll just read this. For the Greeks have empty speeches, O king, that are energetic only in what they demonstrate. And this is the philosophy of the Greeks, an inane philosophy, F-O-O-L, I love this, of speeches. We, meaning the Egyptians, by contrast, use not speeches, are you ready for this, folks? But sounds that are full of action. Folks, I don't know about you, but when my spirit, the ponies went, whoa, stop. What is he saying here? Not speeches, but sounds that are full of action. He goes on to say that this established, very interesting, that I shall open the discourse of invoking God, the master, maker, father, and container of the whole universe, the all who is one and the one who is all. For the plenitude of all things is one and is in one, not because the one duplicates itself, but because both are one. Keep to the meaning carefully, my king, through the whole length of my discourse. If anyone sets his hand against what seems to be all, and one, and identical, and tries to part it from the one, taking the term all to mean multitude rather than plenitude, he will be doing the impossible, breaking the apart all from the one and destroying all from the one is basically a fool. Now, he goes on and talks about how there are gods, demigods, well established. In fact, Hermes teaches that there around the sun, there is an unlimited brigade of demonic forces. He also says, and I'm just summarizing here in this chapter, that the sunlight that we see goes all the way into the earth and is seen in the inner earth. And that, are you ready for this, folks? This is probably tens, thousands of years old, who knows, that the earth would produce rays of its own. And we're just now discovering that the earth can in fact produce cosmic rays. Are you kidding me? I love this stuff. Now, he goes on, and I'm just going to say this right now. The gods, the demons, the whatever you want to put. Every religion has taken from this knowledge and applied their own particular special sauce. Good angels, bad angels. The Pope, I'm going to talk about this on the show tonight with Claudia. So the Pope is saying that all of Christianity is now being under attack by the devil. And that now all Christians need, particularly Catholics, need to begin to call on the angels. What? How long do we go through this, folks? I mean, if these deities exist, then I say it's time for them to manifest. I know what it means metaphorically. I know what it means to be allegorically. I know what the idioms, the axioms mean. I get the parables. But here is a man who has a knowledge that I don't have. He's got access to hidden knowledge for sure. That's now saying that we need to invoke angels into this supposed battle. Are they trying to tell us something we don't have it already sensed already? And good and evil, what is it? We know by the principles what is good and evil. And the law of polarity. It's a degree. So getting back to it, there's only one thing that can screw you up, folks. And whether you want to take this or not, it's there for the taking, is irreverence. If you are ungrateful, irreverent, that is a big no-no. In fact, it says that it'll bring visitors to you that you don't want. When we're born, there are demons assigned to us, just as well as there's those that are of good intent for us. We go through this struggle. And it's a struggle. I don't like the fact that any of you have lack in your life. There's no need for it. But all the invocations that I can give you, all the knowledge I can give you will be of little benefit to you if you don't begin to understand that you are most likely your biggest sabotager. You sabotage yourself. And when you sleep, your soul, your subconscious, make sure that something's going to happen. Got to stop it, folks. We have to. So I want to talk a minute here, and you can get this on Franz Barden book. We're going to be going through that tomorrow. I do have a PDF copies of that book. Is this. Many of you suffer from food allergies that you're not even aware of. And I'm going to tell you how it's happening. You're consuming food that carries vibrations of some sort. All meat carries a residual of the spirit of the animal from which it was taken from. The same goes for plant life. It's got spirit. Just because theology says that's not true, we know different. We know by the experiments. We know by speaking to rice, shouting to it, or blessing it. When I bring flowers to my wife, and I love that, makes her smile and makes me smile, I lay my hands on them and I breathe over them. And I tell them that their offering of their beauty and their fragrance is well received. And she'll tell you, most of them stay alive up for 10 days. Sometimes we've seen it go a couple of days beyond that. Am I a vegetarian? Yes and no. I used to eat a lot of fish, but that today. But listen, I still like barbecue. What can I say? But for the most part, I eat a lot of grains, more grains than anything else, because the vegetable matter that we're eating now is so contaminated. But the point that I'm trying to drive here is this. All food carries a vibration. Now, if you do not do anything to alter that vibration, you're consuming that residual vibration into you. And if you've got, issues with self, we all do. It's just that some of us have gotten to the point where we realize that there's just some things that just aren't worth it. I don't know if that's just getting older or what, but you look at it and you're going, but there's nothing to be gained here. Why argue? And by the way, I'm digressing again, but I want to get these points out. So I was down in our basement doing some things down there, and I had this thought. Now, my wife was watching a program that they were bringing in politics. And so as I'm going downstairs into the basement, I suddenly have this thought of the man that I was 7 years ago. And immediately the energy changed in my body. And I stopped myself on the steps and I said, no, I'm getting this. I said, I am going to alter this polarity. And instead of thinking a thought of confrontation, I thought of comfort. And then I went about my way because the energy changed. So, food. And quite frankly, I don't think it really matters, whether you're vegetarian or not. Maybe in a past reality, in a past world. Today, again, our food is contaminated. And it's more than important that you understand the potential, the unrecognized power inside of you. That's why you say a blessing. That's where this comes from. It comes from the Hermetic principles of changing of the frequency. Because why? The principles teach us that there are 3 different kingdoms right here that we live in. Each has their own God, has their own hierarchy. And just because you and I can't figure it out doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We've got to get beyond that. So you need to speak your frequency over that which you're consuming. Now, if you are taking part, and it's an experiment, I know it works, but for those of you, I've had some say it, I'm willing to do the experiment, and I'm just kind of chuckling to myself. I said, well, make sure to read the owner's manual. You should be thinking favor over your food. That's all you need to do. It's the thought. Thought is tangible. Thought is communicable, transferable. So get the vibration changed. So I like what Jeff Doherty is doing. By the way, I think it's really spot on. Talking about training our mental skills, telepathy, ESP, whatever the case may be. And he did the card, and I think that's great. Something you need to start doing is getting your deck of cards, regular playing cards, and start testing yourself. Start exercising yourself. And so to give everyone an idea, real quick, I thought of a number before I started this show between 1 and 10. What is the number I'm thinking of? I'm not going to say anything until someone, what number am I thinking of? I can do the Jeopardy song. Do 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 do. Anyone want to guess what number I'm thinking of that I wrote down? Santos? No, no, no. Oh, Robin got it. Robin, you got it. It was the number 8. There we go. Now, I figured most of you would realize where I would come up with 8, because if you turn 8 on its side, it becomes the infinity sigma. Anyway. So we're going to get into, now that we've gotten established the tone, the frequency, setting a foundation as we go forward, to really check up on our speech, folks. I'm telling you, the best thing some of you can do is buy a roll of duct tape and duct tape yourself, and sometimes the very person that loves you the most. Our family and our lovers and our loved ones can become our worst enemy, as many of you know. You write me, I get it. I love it when I see the husband and wife and children come together. There is a couple in the UK. They bring their kids in after school to listen to me. I'm going, okay, but what enlightened parents? I keep on saying, why don't I hear from the National Education Association the teaching of the Hermetic principles? Why? Because they know as well as you and I do. It would start the evolution train going in a whole different direction. So we're going to get into this. There's no reason. What I think has happened in many cases is that we've become so ionized. There's a word. I hadn't even thought about that. So polarized that even if wealth wanted to come by, it's prosperity, to be honest with you. It's, religions have hijacked that term, but it works. Prosperity. The richest person to leave this planet is the one who's enlightened, because they're not leaving in fear. They're taking with them what they came here for. And I don't see any reason for a person to come back. If that's the case, I'm still got a problem with that. I don't know, maybe it's something within me. Just to come back to this funny farm again? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's getting weird out there. That's all I got to say. You got people eating people. You got lovers feeding their ex-lovers to people at bar. I mean, what is happening? It's just crazy, folks. Ay. And so I don't know what wealth means to you. I don't know what prosperity means to you. But I do know this: you've got to get centered on the thought. The old expression, I've got too many irons in the fire. Well, as a blacksmith or a forger would tell you, you're not going to get anything done. You're going to get them up to a certain temperature, but it's never going to be enough. Keep the one thought, purify it, get it so well anchored to you that it has no other choice. And learning to watch your tongue. You don't want to curse yourself. You don't want to curse anything else. You don't want to speak. Someone wrote me and said, could you explain to us why you have to do this nude again? And I'm telling you. So let me bring another analogy to the forefront. Have you ever been into a home the next day that fried fish the night before? Yeah. And that's what I think so often is that so much of our, how do I say this? The substance parts of us have been so saturated with this polarity that it's very difficult for anything to come to us, except in so many things is that, well, you never know what life has to offer. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, we know that there's a randomness factor, but why is it that, and we all know it, in your lifetime, you've met someone, you've known someone that just seemed to be the most luckiest individual around. everything seemed to go their way. And all their life, it seemed like they just skated through. And you, on the other hand, have been pulling the plow. You get to a point, you get knocked down. You get to a point, you get knocked down. And you get frustrated. And you tried to find it in religion, and it just made it more frustrating. So then you almost get to the point, well, what's the use? Well, there is a use. It's for you to graduate, for you to take your place among the stars. How can you become a god if you can't control this down here? And that's the goal, folks. Even in the religions, it's the goal. So let's see what we can do about getting across the finish line, so to speak. We'll get more into this tomorrow. I got a sense that there are going to be people here in the next 6 months that are going to find that prosperity, going to find that healing, going to find that place in them, as already so many have. These words just bring it. We've all been searching, and that's why it brings it. When I read them to my wife, she'll look over at me and she says, yeah, I could accept that. Yeah. Makes pretty much good sense to me. That common sense thing. And maybe that's just it. Maybe it is the common sense. Folks, we're going to do fine. Listen, I think that the thing I like about this is that we have the answers. At least an answer. At least it's a response. They say if 5G is in fact here to begin to change people in their state of consciousness, then brother and sister, it's time that you and I get conscious tight, that we can handle that which they throw at us. Our spirit man, spirit person is stronger, resilient. And as that vision I saw people, I was amongst them, that were light beings. We had no form, but the light that we emanated, I'm telling you what. All right, folks, appreciate it. Well, Heart Walker, that's fine. If you're not into Hermes, that's all right. It's wherever you are on your path. That's what's important. The important thing is to keep your mind malleable, open to the fact that if there's others that believe one way that may not agree with yours, it's okay. Because in the end, we're all giving thanksgiving to the all. I did it in the shower today. I love giving praise to the all. And you know what? The all digs it too. It's also, I'll just tell you this, it's where your body can begin to emit a frequency, a tone that will heal your body. Your cells will activate to it. They activate to your voice already. Most of you don't know that, but that does. All right, folks. Blessings to you all. Thank you, Namaset, and have a good afternoon. See you here in about 6 hours with Dr. Claudia Albers. I mean, I love that mind of hers. She, folks, that's what it's about. It's being able to be exposed to thoughts that can challenge us, thoughts that become foreign to us, but yet the mind considers all points. So all my best to you. Thank you, Brad. You good guy, you. Sandra D., how are you, my love? Good to see you. Claudette, thanks to all the moderators. And we'll see you here tomorrow, folks. I'm going to tell you what, we're building an army here. I'm just telling you, it's happening. Okay, be good to yourselves. We'll talk later. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, look at the sign behind that. Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.